Hi, everyone, and welcome to this video where I'm now going to get into the F in the word influence. We're getting to the end of that third element within step 4 of the impact and influence blueprint that's going to achieve or going to help you achieve hyper HR presence. So how do we make sure that you or HR has a sustainable and valuable HR business partner model? This is what we're going to cover in this particular video. And I want to share with you just a few things, just three things, three valuable insights around being future focused, right? And making sure that you have that valuable and sustainable HR business partner model or HR model. So let's get straight into it. The first thing I want you to be aware of, and some of you may be aware, some of you may not be aware, but there are huge megatrends happening all around us. And we're not even, some of us are aware of them and some of us are not aware that they're actually happening right here and now, that are affecting your business, your organizations, that is affecting the economy, that's affecting society, that's affecting the way in which we lead our personal lives. So we need to be very mindful of what these megatrends are if we're going to be responsive from a HR perspective and help our organizations win in the context of these global megatrends. So what are they? Let's talk about them. The first thing I want to just share with you is, thinking about the economic shifts in power. Which country has the most money? What are those countries? Where is the money being transferred to? Is it, is it all in China? Is it in America? Is it in Europe? Where is that money being shifted? Because obviously that has an impact on everything. Everything that we buy. Labor shortages. When we think about what's going on, even now as I speak, I know I speak to many organizations, and there's a real challenge with finding the right talent. We need to be thinking about that right now. You think about it, with the use of technology, we don't need to be in country to work for a company. We could be in a completely different part of the world and still be able to work for a company. So we need to be thinking about how do we address that mega trend, and then civil inequality and movement. And you guys know this. I mean, think about the diversity and the inclusivity. That's such a big drive. How diverse is your organization? How inclusive is it? So we know that there's a big movement and a big shift around that. That's obviously impacting the way that we hire, the way that we train, the way that we develop, the way that we reward. Yes. So thinking about that, the other three I want to draw your attention to is, you've heard of this term, digital disruption, but it is. I mean, digital disruption, if you think about, now the way in which we shop. So, digital disruption can be very positive. So now, we don't have to go to the high street. We don't have to go into a shopping mall to buy our items. We can just do it in several clicks direct from our smartphones, right? So we need to think about, how do we embrace that? Climate change, obviously, reducing carbon footprint, your corporate and social responsible statements. So again, that's influencing the way in which we do business. And therefore, HR has to be responsive to that. Demographic shifts, the trend of, do people want to come and work in cities, or do they want to get out into the country and work more remotely? So we need to be mindful of those demographic shifts, because all of these trends are affecting the way in which your organization is performing, not just for now, but also potentially for the future. So that raises some questions. It raises questions for HR, and we need to make sure that we are going to have a sustainable model, that we are going to future-proof, and we need to start thinking about some questions. And I've got 4 questions I just want to put to you. How are those megatrends affecting your organization? How will they affect the future success of your organization? How are they kind of shaping and influencing your customer decisions? Earlier, I just mentioned to you, do you, for those of you who are on Amazon Prime members, like, you just thought, oh, I don't want to go out. I just want to order it. I just want to have access to it, and I want it tomorrow, or I want it the same day, right? Without having to leave the house. Obviously, that's influencing the way in which we shop and influencing who we shop with. And then, so just thinking about, how do you meet all stakeholders, right? So it's all about community, it's the shareholders, internal customer, external customer, suppliers, all your stakeholders are being affected by megatrends. So just really urge you to go out and read a bit more about megatrends and start taking those into consideration when it comes to HR policy and procedure. Good. The other thing I want to talk to you about is this whole thing around HR strategic agility versus HR operational agility. So what is the difference? What do we need to be focused on? HR strategic agility is when you have the ability to partner your leadership team, look outside the organization, and be able to kind of go, this is what we need to do differently in order to win. This is what we need to do differently in order to make sure that we are staying competitive in the marketplace. So it's all about how do you partner to be able to stay competitive in what's going on around you. How do you stay strategically competitive given all the different megatrends, which is different to HR operational agility, which I think HR pretty much are good at doing. You know, you're good at flexing like what's currently going on within the organization. Can you take an existing system or process and flex or change it and develop it, evolve it in order to meet the business needs? Yes, but are you doing enough of this? Are you kind of sitting down and going, right, what's going to be our customer buying habits? What does the customer want to experience when they come and either buy products from our organization or receive a service from our organization? What do they want to experience? And therefore, we're going to include that in the type of person we recruit. We're going to include that type of experience we want to create in training and development, for example, right? So thinking about, are you being strategically agile in HR? Or are you stuck on being HR, operationally focused, right? So that's another second point. And the other thing I want you to kind of think is really taking this inside outlook. Too often, and again, reinforcing this operational agility focus, it's not about what's happening inside the organization. It's about what's happening outside the organization and the way it's impacting what's going on inside. So it's really kind of taking that inside outlook rather than sort of outside in. And think about it in the context of Pestle. So many of you would have heard of Pestle, and you use it in terms of trying to understand what's going on outside your organization. Again, I want you to be internally focused. So when you think about Pestle in the context of, politics, what's the politics going on in governments across the world? No, what's the politics in your organization? What's going on in your organization that politically is correct or incorrect, or is creating roadblocks? So we got to be thinking about those things. Yeah, what's the economic position? Like when I talked about in the last video, knowing the money-making model. You've got to know how healthy your business is because you want to be able to help it one way or the other. When we think about the social trends, like we know there's different social trends at different levels within the organization and different departments and different functions. So the way in which these departments are interacting, we need to pay attention to. Are you embracing technology? How are you embracing technology? But again, so thinking about this from an internal view, what are the legal implications and regulations that are surrounding your business? And how does HR make sure that we're aligned to those, both not just for where we are today, but where we need to be headed to? And then environmental, we always kind of think about Pestle in the context of environment and, reducing our carbon footprint. But what's the culture policy like? What's your environment like? What is it like to work for? Now, what is it like to work in your organization, right? So thinking about Pestle from that perspective gives you a different angle, gives you a strategic advantage. And really, this was the three things rather that I wanted to talk to you about in this particular video. Are you focused on megatrends? When you think about your HR business partner model or your HR model, are you demonstrating strategic agility or are you demonstrating operational agility? And then looking at HR from, the Pestle perspective, the internal perspective, and looking at each one of those elements. That's what I wanted to share in this video with you. In my next video, I want to talk to you about how HR leadership can get leverage and influence over its leadership team. And we're going to kind of move into the next step, step 5 within the impact and influence blueprint. And we're going to be starting to cover these 3 elements. Of course, the first one in the next video being the L. So hopefully you found that video useful, and look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care for now.